Welcome to the 2025 New Canaan Society National Retreat. And we do believe that each of you is here with a purpose. Whether or not you could write it down on the card or not, we 100% believe that. I mean, as we've been praying, there's been two principles, two themes that have come to mind for us. One is the guys that are supposed to be in the room will be in the room. You are the guys that were supposed to be here. You are God's men. It is no mistake that you're here. That's one. And then two is that for each and every one of you, there's something that God wants to do with this weekend. There's something he wants to do with you. So we have developed a framework of 3 points that we're going to talk about. Three modes, if you will. Teaching with the G hanging on the low, because that's how we do it. Testimony, because we're not sure why. And tactics. Testimony is in the center for a reason. You know that. It's the core of what we do. We are men of story. We lead with vulnerability. And I'm going to invite you to that this weekend. And even as I stand here, I have a story to tell. I have a testimony to share. The day before leaving, I go to start the car, the battery doesn't start. On my flight down here, the NCS mainframe falls off my tray, and the surface hit a surface and cracked. Still working. We're all still in business. And then, a couple days ago, I sent 300 business guys 2 emails back to back, one of which announces that the retreat starts tomorrow in just 48 hours. I mean, I went to a state college, but I should know there's 24 hours in a day. I'm learning about automations. It's funny, it's a job that I took on, a task that's not mine to do, and I did it. And so I stand here, and I come with my own testimony. But I know that each of us walks into this room with some kind of testimony. Maybe some of you have a prodigal son. You know, I live in Seattle, where we collect prodigal kids from around the country. And my heart breaks. My heart breaks because I see kids on the street and I know this is not what God has for them. And I know that some of you are in this room right now and your heart is breaking for a prodigal child. For some of you, you left the house and a door slammed on your way out the door to Orlando because things aren't exactly smooth at home. And then for others, it could be that you're involved in a project that could lose tens of thousands of dollars or even hundreds of thousands of dollars at work, and you don't know if you're going to make it. We all have a testimony. This is the space to share it. There is no better space. You have guys sitting around the table that are going to understand your predicament. 1. 2, we live by an AA principle that says, except for the grace of God, go I. There's nothing you're going to share with us that we're not going to judge you on. So I invite you to share your testimony. It's critical to your time here. We have protected time in our schedule. Each speaker has been given a strict time allotment, including me. The clock is ticking right here. And the reason that clock is ticking is to protect your time and your time at the tables. Because that's where the beautiful stuff's going to happen. There's going to be great teaching up here with speakers after me, but the good stuff's going to happen at the tables. So feel permission to share your story. And not just at the tables, in the hallway, on an elevator, in the gym, in the pool, having a cigar. We are men of story. I really do believe that if we tell our stories, in fact, the Bible even says it. I think it's Revelation that says we are saved by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. So let's take that promise. By sharing our testimony, we bring life. Now, the thing about testimony, we're not going to let our testimony just sit out there kind of willy-nilly, like, our testimony is just this thing, it's what we're experiencing, it's who we are. No, we're going to ground our testimonies in really good teaching. We have brought in excellent speakers, top-notch speakers that God has chosen. If you would have told me who we were going to invite 2 years ago or 22 months ago when I started the job, I wouldn't have thought it was this list. But God has ordained these guys to be here, and each comes with a unique gift to help us put a framework around our testimony that talks about how our lives are being redeemed, the redemption of our lives, sanctification, and the redemption of the world around us. Because our testimony plays in both those places. So testimony's at the center, it's at the core. Teaching is how we're going to build a framework around it. And then come on, tactics. Tactics. This isn't a holy huddle. We're not here just to smoke some cigars and drink some booze. And maybe you are. I'm just telling you, that's not why New Canaan Society is here. That's not why we exist, is just so you can have a fairly inexpensive Taylor ham sandwich out at the brick house. You know, that's not what it's about. It's more than that. We are about changing a world, making a difference. We need men today that are going to love like Jesus and lead like they give a damn. Love like Jesus and lead like your leadership matters. You can applaud for that, I think. I think that's a good one. Gentlemen, your leadership matters. Now, I know in Seattle, where I live, if I go to open a door for a young lady, that could be seen as insulting to her. It's called a microaggression. I'm like, that's not aggression. I've got aggression. That's mama's teaching that I'm doing right there. That's all I'm trying to do. But what could that cause me to do? Okay, I'm not gonna open doors for anybody anymore because I don't want to insult my daughter or my wife or some stranger. And we need guys, we need men that lead. Our country needs men that lead. Your household needs men that lead. And it may not show in the eyes of your wife or in the eyes of your daughter. Your leadership matters to them and they want it. So I want to invite you to be leaders, to lead in the world. Now, tactics. We do not want to have you leave here with a to-do list. You left that at the desk. Or a honey-do list. You left that at home. We want you to leave here being different, operating different. Because when we think about leading like men, some of us, myself included, could have a idea of the man from my dad, which the backhand is always present. I'm always not sure. I'm really not loved. Is this possible? And we just need a new framework for how we do this. And that's where we talk about our theme. New wineskins, same vine, fill your cup. If I can get that up on a slide, that'd be great. New wineskins. That's my family. There it is. They're good. Great. New wineskins. You know, when COVID happened, we all had a pivot. That was the big business word, right? Pivot. It's like there was a pivot. Today, if you're like me, you are pivoting maybe 4 or 5 times before lunch. Things are moving so quickly in technology, cultural norms, values, that I'm constantly moving and adapting. And gentlemen, we need to think differently. I'll give you an example. In Seattle, we've had a homeless problem. And for years, we argued, quit giving our tax money to people living on the street for free Wi-Fi, free bathrooms, free housing, free ESPN subscriptions. I mean, come on, stop. And you know what the response would be? Well, you're just arrogant, you're prideful, you're just selfish. And we had to pivot. We had to think differently. We had to be creative. We needed a new wineskin. And we changed the message to, it is not compassionate. It is never compassionate for somebody to live on the street. Now, they're like, you're right. We need to get people off the streets. Yeah, you're right. We should be compassionate. So as men, we just need to think in new wineskins. And I know it's old dog, new tricks. I mean, I love sitting on my front porch telling people to get off my yard. It's my favorite thing. I got a really good lawn. Thank you. But I need to think in new ways, new wineskins. But you can hear new wineskins, and you might even think this. They're going a little soft, get a little squishy. No. We still are grafted into the same vine. Our board last year affirmed that while other organizations might be slipping around, that New Canaan Society is still going to live under historical biblical truths. We are still orthodox. We believe in one loving God who built his whole plan on relationships. He sent his loving Son as a relationship to us men that were out there alone and on our own. We believe in one book that talks about relationship. We are orthodox, and we're not moving on that. We are affirming our stance that we are a solidly orthodox, historical, biblical organization. Now, our young brothers in the room, I'm so thankful that you are here because you can help us with this. I'm born December 1964, so I'm literally the last month of the baby boomers. And when I take my historical biblical truths and I come up against contemporary cultural challenges, I bounce off. I don't know what to do. I just go back into my church mode. But our young brothers are able to come up against those contemporary cultural challenges, conversations, and not lose who they are in Christ, but rather have a conversation to learn about the person and where they're at. And young brothers, we need to teach us. You need to teach us that because we got kids we don't know how to do that with. We have employees that we don't know how to do that with. We meet people and we don't know how to do that. And we can't go through this world just bouncing off of people. That is not what God has called us to do. New wineskins, same vine. Fill your cup. Gentlemen, you are called here for greatness. You are called here with a purpose. And I want to invite you this weekend. Drink it up.